This mini-boss can be a pain because of the pattern that he likes to use in order to drill through the walls. It's definitely going to take a time or two, but you'll get pretty used to his patterns and pretty much know where to stand. However, until you really do that, it's going to be pretty much a pain, and you're really going to have to just take a gamble when it's time to actually charge up and shoot. One of the worst things, though, about the mini-boss is that you actually can't tell how much health they have left since they have no health bar. So that's a real pain. You're never quite sure exactly how many more hits you have until he's defeated. As you can see, for the most part, I hang out on the lower left wall until he's actually about to pop out of that wall, in which case then I will finally slide away. But for the most part, the left side of the room is pretty safe overall. You have to bounce off his projectiles in order to actually jump up and get a shot in when he's up in the ceiling like that. You also have to deliver a full charge shot in order to actually destroy the little worms that come out of the eggs. The good thing, though, about those little worms is once in a while they will drop an item which can help you out during the battle. Once he's defeated, we continue on in the stage. Slide under and defeat these enemies as you work your way up, and be sure to be very quick along these platforms because as you can see, they flip after you land on them. For here, try to defeat the enemy from a distance, or land on his platform for just a second so that it'll spin around and end up dropping him to the platforms below. In this room, we start a series of totems that you have white ones and red ones. The red ones will open up the doors that you need to go through. However, for every white totem that you destroy, the spikes move a little bit closer to you, and if they hit you, it's an instant death. So what I like to do is you have to destroy the totems in a specific order so that you can get by and end up being able to get through the room. For here, though, you actually have to defeat the totems quick enough so you can actually get through without losing a life. Be very careful here as you have these weird drill-like fish that destroy the ground that you're walking on. Once you get past that room, it's time for the boss battle against Ground Man. Ground Man, for the most part, has some pretty cool, unique moves. He's first going to usually turn into his little drill tank form and start sliding around the room. You cannot hurt him in that form, so you have to make your charges during that form, and then deliver him once he finally comes out of it. He then likes to go into the ceiling with a very large drill that will come down 3 times wherever it lands on you. So make sure that you're moving quickly and slide around so you can avoid getting hit by it. You'll have your charge ready though, because after the third one when he drops, you can get a good shot in on him. He also has a drill move, as you can see there, with a big drill that breaks up into littler parts as it moves around. Usually for the most part, that's not too bad to dodge if he shoots too high above you. However, below you, you're going to have a little bit trouble and you may have to do a slide to avoid it. Once he's been defeated, we get that drill move and move on to the next stage of the game. Next up we have Astro Man, who is one of the 2 recycled Robot Masters from Mega Man 8. Astro Man is also one of the later ones we fought in that game, where he's pretty early on in this one. In this area of the stage, you can see that the background has different silhouettes of the different enemies from the stages. Now, as you're moving through, some of these enemies will pop through the wall in the background and come towards you. Mainly there's flying enemies, which they're annoying, but thankfully they're usually above you, so if you're not jumping, you shouldn't get hit by them. Up here is our first of our mini-bosses of this stage, and they're not really an actual boss. What it is you have to actually put in the right combination of jumping on the right buttons in order for the door to open. If you press the wrong buttons, that's when the enemy is actually able to attack you. In this area of the stage, certain ones of the blocks, when you're walking over them, will start moving towards the spikes on the ceiling, so you're going to have to be quick and careful so you don't accidentally get run into the spikes and end up losing a life. Down here we see a disappearing and reappearing block for the first time in the game. There's a few more as we move towards the end of this stage, and you're going to have to be careful to move along the right pattern so that you can get to the areas that you need to without accidentally falling into any pits or enemies. Here is when it gets a little bit trickier, but thankfully not too bad to get up to this platform. Here, however, they move rather fast, and you're going to have to be really quick and careful when getting over this area. Make sure that you hug the right side of the block so that you actually are able to get up here to enter this door. Once again, we have to put in another combination on the buttons in order for the door on the right to open up. Once again, be careful not to get run into any of the spikes on the ceiling, and after you get to the top, it's time for the boss battle. Astro Man is a bit different from his original version that we saw in Mega Man 8. However, the biggest annoyance about him overall is that he's actually relatively hard to hit. Charge up your blast and you're going to have to do a short jump in order to jump up and actually be able to do damage to him with your blast. Astro Man is actually weak to Magic Man's moves, so unfortunately we're not able to get that yet, but we will be able to use it against him technically in the later part of the game when we have to refight the bosses. This part is annoying as he moves back and forth, making clones of himself that will continue to fire at you. He makes one on both the left and right side and travels between them, so you have to be careful to avoid him along with avoiding those blasts. During this part, when he creates the holes in the floor for the enemy to jump out of, you really won't be able to do damage to him, but you just have to avoid the enemies and destroy them as he's making them. Thankfully, they're destroyed in just one blast, but unfortunately, you can't really do any damage, so it just takes time away from the battle. Your best opportunities are when he comes down towards you, that you avoid it and jump up and do damage to him. If you're quick about it, you can also deliver damage to him during the cloning part, but since you're trying to dodge so much, it can be relatively hard. The key really to Astro Man is just taking your time and don't take too many risky chances. It may take some extra time to actually beat him, but you'll have better chances of survival if you just really focus on dodging most of his blasts. When he's done, we get the copy ability that he had, and we move on to the second set of Robot Masters in the game. So to start off the second set of Robot Masters, I move to the top of the selection screen, and I'm going to start with Burner Man. As you can see, the theme to Burner Man's level is a forest, which is very similar to Grenade Man's stage from Mega Man 8. You probably already noticed a lot of similarities between Mega Man 8 and this game, with many of the backgrounds as well as the themes of the levels being the same. For these enemies, you can jump down and deliver a shot in between when he's throwing, and then jump up, avoiding the ball that he throws down. As you can see, I like to jump to the previous platform, as that gives me a good opportunity to time my charge up again, and actually drop down and hit him with it. They take a good amount of the shots, but it's really worth it just so you don't end up taking damage from running into him. This guy's a little bit different, as it's going to be a little bit harder to avoid. However, you can still do basically the same strategy if you want to him. Staying down on the ground just at the base of his foot though, you'll see that all his projectiles will go over your head, giving you enough time to avoid, charge up, and jump and shoot. This guy, however, I will avoid, jumping over him after getting hit by one of his projectiles. Be careful when climbing up through these areas, because the areas that you can't see contain different holes that'll cause you to fall down the previous platforms, as well as they can conceal certain enemies. Over here you can see we have another enemy that throws balls at you. This time it's a blue bouncing one that actually can hit you by bouncing off of different walls.